Hi everyone, I'm Anjali Raghbeer. I run Writer's Key, an education consultancy based out of New Delhi, India. Writer's Key has always been involved with undergraduate counseling, but over the past few years, we've received quite a few inquiries for postgraduate applications. And I thought I'd use this time to tell you a little bit about MBA applications and how that impacts your career going forward, and how we could also reach out to you and help you in this process. So, first of all, I wanted to actually cover why would you need an MBA. So, from whatever we've understood, from what I have witnessed in terms of education, how it would enhance your prospects. Basically, the MBA would help to make your career go forward. Now, if you are looking to improve your career in the corporate ladder, I would say that the MBA is really, really important. Because if other people are applying for the same job and they've got an MBA, I think that would make a difference if you came up with an MBA where it makes you competitive. If you're running your own company or you're involved in a startup, you may be looking to hire MBAs. Now, I think it's a big trade-off whether you want to join, an MBA and give up that time from your business. That only you can evaluate. There are no set rules for a company. You need to make the right decision. But tomorrow, when you are hiring MBAs and you are only, say, a BA or a BCom degree, it might impact the way you come across while hiring. So I think it's important to assess it overall and then decide whether you want to do that or not. So I think, and for every individual, it's a very, very individual journey about whether you want to go in for an MBA or not. So I would say that, we can always talk about it, and if you have questions about it, I can answer those. But it's a very, very individual process, whether you want to do an MBA or not, whether it's justified to do it or not. The second part of my introduction to you is, what does it entail to have or apply for an MBA? Now, there are actually 4 parts to it. So first of all, I think you should take your GMAT or GRE exam, because most good universities will require either a GMAT or a GRE. So your first would be the testing. The second part would be you will need a letter of recommendation, either from your workplace or you would need it from an academic counselor, somebody maybe that you studied under, who can talk highly about your academic skills. That could also be another person. There would be a set of essays which are quite individual to every school that is out there. So, for example, London Business School might have certain questions, Imperial might have something else, UPenn or Harvard may have a completely different set of questions. But more or less, of course, they would be touching on your work experience. So these essays would be important. And the fourth would be your resume. Most MBA schools require you to submit a resume, and care should be taken how you draft that resume. Usually they would be a page long. We have plenty of posts on this in terms of what you can fit in your resume and how to maximize writing it. So we had asked all our viewers to send in questions, and a lot of them sent in questions around the MBA. So I'm going to address these questions. I've told you what is required for an MBA, why you should do it. So I'm going to also answer the questions that each one of you have sent in. So the first question is, how should one start preparing for an MBA program while he or she is still in college? Any tips to build the roadmap? Now, I think it's a bit early to be thinking about your MBA program while you're still in college. Having said that, maybe the best way to do is maximize your grades, maximize the grades, and make sure that you do really well in college. Take your GMAT or GRE. Identify schools which don't require work experience so that you can apply to them immediately. That would be one of the ways I would handle it in college. But most of all, focus on your grades, because good grades will take you a long way. The second question is, what is the best specialization to choose for an MBA? Now, according to me, there is no such thing as a best specialization to choose, right? You could be a finance person, you could be a marketing person, you could be a general MBA person. It all depends on your skill. You have to match it to what you're good at. It's not going to be about, what is the ideal thing out there. I might say that, okay, computer science is the best career out there. But if you're not suited for it, how is it going to benefit you? So I think choose the time to take out and understand what is your fit in terms of what is the best specialization. A lot of the questions also came around GMAT and GRE. One of the questions was, when is the right time to appear for GMAT? I would say that towards the end of your third year for Indian students and towards the end of your graduation year, which is the fourth year for students studying in America, that would actually be a good time, because you're still connected with studying and you're still connected with how you want to, go forward with it. So I would say that is the time you should take it, because a score is valid for 5 years. So whether you do it now or you do it 2 to 3 years later, that would give you enough of a window to keep in touch. The other question that I'm asked is, which exam, GMAT or GRE, should one appear for joining an MBA program? The GMAT program is very specific to an MBA, whereas a GRE, a lot of schools also accept the GRE for MBAs, but it also is applicable for other master's programs. So if you are not sure whether you want to pursue an MBA, then maybe you should go in for a GRE, which kind of, gives you an option to transfer or to branch out into something else. That would be the main reason why I would not take the GMAT, but instead take the GRE. Another question that we've got is, I couldn't secure a good score in my previous 2 GMAT exams. How many maximum attempts are given to a student? I don't think there's a limit to the maximum number of exams, but if you've not cracked it by the time you've taken 3 exams, then really speaking, I don't think maybe you're not cut out for the exam. There's no point torturing yourself and going on and on with it. Any other questions from here? Okay, so let me move on to the next question. Can I get admission into an MBA around the world without a GRE or a GMAT? Yes, there are certain unis which don't need these tests. So if you come to Writer's Key, we can always guide you on certain schools which don't require a GMAT or a GRE. It's not the end of the world if you can't take those exams. Another question that we have is around the MIM. This is a very increasingly a popular degree. It's a master's in management. It runs over 12 months and sometimes 15 months. That's a program quite popular in Europe and UK. So I would say that will I get the same job opportunities like an MBA student after graduating? So I think we'd have to consider a lot of things before I can sort of, it's not like comparing apples and oranges. It's all about, what has been your work experience, what are the different kinds of things that you've done that would entail whether you could get a similar job by doing an MIM or an MBA. But I think an MIM is great for somebody who's not had any exposure to business or any exposure to running of working in a corporate. Maybe somebody from a science background or a purely arts background could actually benefit by doing a master's in management program. There is a question here, what are your thoughts on the future of human resources in the corporate world? I think it's a very important field. So human resources, I assume you're meaning like the HR sort of, what kind of talent hiring. I think if you read things about the startup world today, talent is one of the things that you really need to get good talent on board to make your company successful. So I think it has a very important role to play in the future. Another question that has come up is, can one get full-time scholarships for an MBA program in USA or Europe using GMAT scores? Well, yes, GMAT scores will hold a lot of value, whether you get an MBA scholarship or not. But let me tell you that MBA programs will not give you 100% scholarship unless you are the next sort of Bill Gates, which they can spot, So most likely you will get maybe $15,000 a year or something like that. Or, if it's a 2-year program, maybe about $20,000 or something. But rarely have I seen people get a full scholarship out there. But having said that, you can take student loans. Lots of banks support student loans. So you can actually end up, getting a lot of that. The next set of questions is about online versus offline. Many platforms like Coursera, Upgrad are providing online MBAs from well-known universities. Is it worth pursuing it for good job opportunities, or is it just another gimmick? I wouldn't like to dismiss online learning so quickly. I think it is changing. Perhaps there will be more acceptance in the corporate world. Of course, the reason why people do an MBA is one, to, of course, supposing you don't have a background in business or any exposure to the corporate world, then that's something that you like to do to understand finance, marketing, different sort of risk-taking, financial modeling, etc., all of that. But the other thing is also you are going there to network. So you're going there to meet like-minded people. You're going there to, in the future, you would network with people who would actually make it possible for you to climb up the corporate ladder. So an online course, while it might equip you with the knowledge, will not give you the networking that is required during an MBA. It may not even be, so there's a lot of learning from group activities, from real-time experience, from internships, from placements. So all that would not be possible in the online world. But I think it's just about beginning. The shake-up in education is just about beginning towards online. So let's wait and watch how the online model goes on. Now, apart from an MBA, what are the other alternatives for a student who wants to make a career in business or the marketing field? So apart from MBA, you could actually look at specializing. We just got a question about HR. So maybe if you want to do a master's in behavioral economics or on human psychology or something different, which would equip you to do something very, very specific. You don't only have to do an MBA to get ahead. It could be a very, very specialized niche kind of a degree that you could do. So those are my thoughts on how you could actually sort of, apply for an MBA. What are some of the questions you should be asking yourself? We got a great set of questions from previous viewers. And if you have any more queries, please write to me. I'm going to post my email here, and you could actually write an email to me if you have any queries around your MBA plans. Don't forget to go on the writerskey.com website. We've got a fantastic blog on GMAT versus GRE, which could actually tell you a little bit about the tests and which tests you should be doing. So have a look, and until next time, I'm Anjali Raghbeer signing off.